You know, it takes a really special kind of person to see the suffering going on in Central Texas and take the time to try to insert your politics into it or try to make some point on social media because of it. But we're seeing a lot of people take that action, unfortunately. It's really sad to see. How much hate do you have to have in your heart to hear about children losing their lives? And your first reaction is, how can I insert my politics into this? Now, if the shoe's on the other foot and something happened in a place like California or whatnot, like we know there's been wildfires there and so on and so forth, then you know that if conservative individuals were out there celebrating and gleefully pointing their fingers at individuals who are suffering, then that the left would rightfully call us out. But it seems as if the left has become far too comfortable engaging in this behavior whenever it affects people in a state that they themselves don't particularly like. Now, we know Texas is a red state. Sometimes you might argue by a razor-thin margin, but it still is. And I've seen way too many people come out of the woodworks and talk about how, oh, these children, they deserved what happened, or these people, they got what they voted for. You know, citing complete misinformation or saying something to the effect of, oh, well, because of Trump's cuts, this or that. None of this is founded in reality or truth at all, but they like to run with these kinds of narratives whenever it suits their political ends. Now, it's been well documented that the National Weather Service actually was sending out alerts and that it was not understaffed like so many individuals want to claim. But most recently, we saw an individual who, believe it or not, was a pediatrician. And she worked for Bluefish Pediatrics, I believe was the name of the company. And most recently, this person's name is Christina Props, I believe. And she made a post essentially saying that, you know, MAGA individuals got what they deserved. Bear in mind, a lot of these victims have been children. Children, of course, as you all well know, cannot vote. So why would someone go out of their way to make such a vile, politically charged statement in the aftermath of such a large-scale tragedy? It is because these individuals have completely lost the plot. All they want to do is score political points. And the really sad reality is that when something is not happening to them themselves, they view it as entertainment. That's just the sad reality, the sad state of affairs, the sad world that we live in. So it's incumbent upon us to call those individuals out. But it seems as if it's almost a fool's errand at this point, because each time you see someone doing this, then you fast forward, wait a couple days, and someone else on their side says something equally abhorrent. There is an African-American woman, and reports are indicating that she's actually married to a white pastor herself in the Houston area. I don't know why these people are coming out of Houston so much, but they are. And this individual, I think her name is Sadie Perkins, she took to social media, to TikTok, basically trying to make some sort of argument that, oh, well, if these girls had been brown girls, right, maybe we wouldn't be so concerned about them. A completely vile statement to make. But she makes this statement and tries to make everything all about race. Bear in mind, this was a Christian camp. Camp Mystic was the one that was hit hard by the flooding in Kerrville, Texas. But Sadie Perkins, she took it upon herself to make it political again. And this is someone who you would think would know better. She actually previously served on a Houston Food Insecurity Board. Thankfully, Houston Mayor John Whitmire fired her in short order for those remarks. Because there's one thing that Texans do not do. You know, we say don't mess with Texas. We mean it. When things happen like natural disasters, like hurricanes, and individuals need to be rescued, you don't see people checking and asking, oh, well, who did you vote for? That's how I'm going to determine who I'm going to pick up in this boat that I have. We see people struggling. We help each other. That's one of our reputational qualities that I'm actually very proud of. There's even entities like the Texas Rangers, like HEB, that are notorious for going out of their way to help individuals, regardless of political party, when they are suffering. That is what you should do just as a normal, basic, good human being. But the sad reality is this is becoming par for the course. Like I said earlier, you know, if there was a natural disaster that took place that affected New York or that affected California, then I would just as strongly condemn individuals on the right if they chose to politicize it and show utter disregard for any lives that were impacted. And I'm not going to sit here and be foolish or disingenuous and say there aren't some individuals on the right side of the aisle who do engage in that abhorrent behavior, and I condemn them now and will condemn them when they do such things in the future. But the fact of the matter is, here and now, in 2025, we are contending with the increasingly commonplace trend of politicizing an event and showing a complete disregard for life itself, based on partisan political lines. It's something that I do believe really needs to stop, but until individuals see more consequences for this behavior, it's going to continue. A sad fact is that over these past several years, the left has gotten more and more comfortable with engaging in this type of behavior. They'll be the first ones to say, oh, I don't want to take care of you or help you or be your friend or even regard you as a human being whatsoever just because of your politics. If you're on the right side of the aisle, you are terrible. Everything bad that happens, you deserve. It's such a tribalistic way to handle politics and just to live your life. And it has to be so tiresome to be that kind of person where anything and everything that happens has to be filtered through a lens of, oh, well, are you on the right side of the aisle? Because if you are, then hey, you deserve what's coming to you. And the same can be said for individuals on the right who do the same thing to the left. But I would argue we see it all too often and far more commonly from individuals on the left levying hate towards individuals on the right. And they also claim to be the party of love and tolerance. I don't understand how they square that themselves if this is the way they choose to act day in and day out whenever there's a natural disaster. So those are my thoughts on this issue. It's very sad to see individuals continue to feel bold enough to spread this sort of caustic dialogue on social media. But until more individuals call out, and until these individuals who would make such statements really start to realize some harsh punitive measures and some harsh consequences, then this behavior is unfortunately going to continue. I think that over the past few years, we've seen a marked shift in how individuals view each other, how individuals will treat each other. And it's very sad that we're a couple decades after 9/11, and there's individuals who, if 9/11 would happen again, I fear that some individuals would decide to say, oh, well, if you are on the right side of the aisle and this happens to you, oh, well, you deserve it. That's what you get, right? That is not how individuals should act and treat each other in a polite society. So we should continue to call out this behavior. But those are my thoughts, and I'm hopeful that you agree.